Now, just as 2022 began, the national leader of the ruling All Progressives Congress and former governor of Lagos State, Bola Ahmed Tinubu's intention to run for the presidential seat became public knowledge. After expressing his interest to President Muhammad Buhari, he engaged in widespread consultations across the country. Bola Ahmed Tinubu has met with state governors, traditional rulers, the National Assembly, and even stakeholders in the diaspora. There is no doubt that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the most popular candidate vying to champion the affairs of the country as its president, being a grassroots politician to the core. As he continues to meet with Nigerians, many believe he is the most qualified aspirant at this time. So let's talk this through by speaking with public affairs analyst Razak Olukoba and another public affairs analyst, Dr. John Ekundayo. Thank you so much for joining us on TVC Breakfast, gentlemen.
Thank you. Good morning. And good morning, viewers at home.
Good morning, everybody. So let's begin with. Let me begin with you. Why do you think Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu wants to run for president?
Well, it's a legitimate aspiration that anybody can have as a Nigerian. And given the political antecedent, I know Asiwaju as far back as 1994 when he was a senator. What brought us together then as a member of civil society was the quest for the June 12 realization at that time. And since that time up to today, he has been taking the right political steps. And for me, it's a major leap for him, what he's doing at the moment. I don't know what other aspirants may do, given what he has been doing. Because politics is about you give me the due respect that I have. That's one of the highest demand politicians want from aspirants or candidates that are coming to visit. And the visitation has yielded a lot of positive results for him. For others who might have intention have not been able to do this, they may have to double their effort because already, as an Africa, one of the key institutions that give us due to political offices are the traditional rulers. And I don't think there's no region today that has not touched many traditional rulers. So it's a leap for him that a 50 meter ahead of other contestants who are running 100 meters. So to catch up for them is a big task for them. And I think the way things are going, like we have said, is the most popular political candidate at the aspirant at the moment. And for other political parties, that's creating a lot of fear for them. And if you listen to what PDP members said in their releases today, it's very clear that a panicky measure is beginning to set in, taking risky political decision that aspirant can come from any part of the country. It's a panicky measure, and that is why we have always been advising APC that you have good guys who are coming out to contest. If you cast your memory back, this time, 8 years ago, 12 years ago, it's not about issues. It's about character assassination. It's about even real assassination, getting people killed. And it has turned to things that Nigerians are not proud of. But today is an issue engagement of issues. We're going to give him an opportunity to be able to explain a lot of his program to people, and that's what I've been advising, that candidates should not always come a week to election. Let us know him, let us engage him, let's know his views, his economic model, political model, what is he bringing on board? There's COVID-19, how do you intend to address it? So this is a good leap for him.
Well, just like you said, and according to him, he said it's a lifelong ambition. Well, let me come to you, Dr. Ekundayo. Asiwaju seems to have got a knack for identifying would-be governors, and then leaders and eventual grooming of enthronement of those who were governors, senators, and some other politicians, top politicians, intellectual politicians that we have. And let me just put it in a simple term, technocrats in the government that we have. So how do you describe this trait of the person of Asiwaju?
I would say of the present crop of politicians we have, in terms of identified talents, Asiwaju actually lead the fourth, because taking cognizance of what happened in Lagos State when he was governor, first term, second term, you could see an array of technocrats assembled together. People like Ben Akabweze, who's still relevant in government now, Director General of Federal Budget Office of the Federation, People like even the former governor, Babatunde Raji Fashola, say, came in to serve with him as chief of staff, and eventually he ran for the governorship and he became governor. Just like that. People like Rauf Aregbesola, who came in as commissioner for works and housing, works and transport, and then like that, you see. And from there to the governor of Osun State, and then to the federal, you could see, and these are people not just from Lagos State, from even other states. So you could see the heart, the graciousness, the large heart of Asiwaju, not just in being myopic, narrow-minded, sectional, you see, but in bringing people, to together to work, because there is a goal, and that's what leadership is about. A leader without a follower is just taking a walk. But when you have a leader with followers who can give you ideas, and then you can see, just to let you know, when you have when we have the ESCO in Lagos State. During the time of Asiwaju, you could see robust discussion, robust dialogue in the ESCO. You see, and at the end of the day, it's not because Asiwaju has an idea. His own idea may be defeated. If you go back to the recording of those ESCO meetings, you see people coming with superior argument. He will bow. In fact, in one of my encounter with him, the only encounter I had with him physically, I remember that time it was somebody that brought me. And when I began to speak, I wore an Ankara like this, and he looked at me and said, well, you look at this, but you think he's a farmer. You see, but when you see him talking, and he listened to me, and he was saying, well, what you said is good. I also did something. So he's somebody who has a listening ear, and he going around to consult. Right. I've written about that. It's a good thing. You see, but it is not just about him just going to people say, oh, I have this, but he actually listened to the people with empathy.
Right. I wanted to expatiate on that, because one fact is that Asiwaju is about the first person who is making this kind of elaborate consultations.
Yeah.
He's been to different part of this country. The south, he's been to the north, he's been to the southwest precisely, and meeting the others. So it looks more like a pseudo campaign with a level of acceptance and the massive crowds that actually come out to greet it.
Ibrahim, I won't say really it's a campaign. It's just about engagement. That's what I would call it now, because it has not. We haven't really gotten the real
agenda. That's why I call it a pseudo campaign.
Okay, a pseudo, or maybe a sub-2. Maybe you use the word sub-2 campaign.
Okay.
You see, but one thing that's important, I've written about this, and it's good to say it here. For me, I want Asiwaju to listen more than he talks. That is called empathic listening. Listening, putting himself in the shoe of those people. As a consult from the north to the south, that's listening with empathy, with curiosity, that you really have interest of these people. And then you begin to hear from them. And it's good for those people, following him, to take notes or go back over all those recorded videos. What the people are saying, those are the things. And like I have written about, it is still skewed. It should be enlarged. We have had traditional rulers, notable politicians. How about religious leaders? How about religious leaders of the Islamic faith, of the Christian faith, even traditional? Consult them, hear them. You see, because we are hearing about Muslim ticket, and there's a lot of agitation. So, but if you are able to consult with them, if you are able to engage, if Asiwaju and the team are able to engage these people and explain certain things to them, and let there be concession, let there be dialogue. Right. At the end of the day, then we see the big picture and we know where we are going.
Let's forget digging into some of the consultations he made and the people that he met, the great people that he met. For instance, when he was with the Oni of Ife, he prayed. A correspondent said he prayed. Oni of Ife prayed for him for more than or close to an hour, and then Olugbo of Igbo was one of the traditional leaders that raised his hand in endorsement. So these sort of acceptance that he received here and there, how did it come to you?
Well, like I said earlier, that it's important to try to understand my plight as somebody who wants to determine the direction of my life. If you don't do that, I may have a problem with that. And I think I recognize that. Right. That if you are going to office, that's just like what my colleague has said, that you must put yourself in the shoe of other people. as a leader. That will enable you or assist you to determine the kind of policy you are going to roll out. If you understand the demand of other ethnic groups,
right,
of other religious organizations, you understand the reason why they behave in a particular way. And if you do that, that people will give you that kind of respect that, okay, you are coming from somewhere. You have your own background that you are coming from. And that is essentially the most important thing in politics, that if you must live together, like after the Civil War in America, George Washington brings all the people together and say, okay, the blacks, what are your pains? Why do you want America to be run? Don't call me nigger again. The red Indians, who are the original owners of the land. So, and they came, and that's what is called American nationalism today.
Right.
So, what he's also doing is to marry all the demands of everybody together. Okay, how do we go from here? And that gives you consolation to people that you have spoken to, that we have had his assurance. If you don't do that, just have something that this man may understand us, this man may not understand. But that's why I said he has edge over all others that are contesting. It is about the only political contestant at the moment who doesn't have any attachment.
Any attachment in
terms of I must report to someone, okay, I must seek clearance from someone must give me go ahead before I do this, and that's an edge. So for everyone who is also taking that line to come out and contest, they better begin what is doing also early enough, so that we begin to give a natural comparison of, okay, this is what Ashaju has said, this is what Mr. A or B has also said, and above all too, his antecedent is speaking for him. If he has started Lagos of his 8 years rule and run the most prominent economy, state economy of the most prominent economy in terms of housing industries in Lagos, if he has misrun it, it will affect Nigeria. But because of the way it made his government available for us to stabilize democracy, given the way he has survived his 8 years under Obasanjo's rule, after sustaining that, he now laid a principle, he laid a program for Lagos to survive economically. And today, if you look at these three most cosmopolitan cities in Africa today, Lagos is one of them. Johannesburg and South Africa, then Lagos. So if he had not laid a proper template for Lagos, there will be a crisis, because that foundation is important. Shortly after Marwa, he came on board and put everything together. RRS for security, he put it in place for economy. He said, all of us are Lagosians. Bring whatever you have into Lagos and let us invest it, let us germinate it. So, and we have a model already. If you want to assess him, who is he as someone who is going to get, you have a model of God, which Lagos is model. And it was because of that but Fashola also came in too. He did that selection. Only God knows where he got it Fashola from to come on board. Only God knows where he got someone from to come on board. Only God knows where he saw Sibajo to come on board. All these people that are becoming, even in other states, he saw the feature in everybody. I mean, also, he saw the feature in, and he has not miscalculated in all these investments. So that gives you an idea of who he is. And the rest of the world who are also watching his moves also gives them an idea of who he is. That eventually, when Africa must rise economically, it has to do something. It has to do with Nigeria. So if Africa must rise Nigeria. So they begin to look at a future in Nigeria with his emergence.
Right. So let's look at his disposition to the youth. And a group of Nigerian youth for declared support for and promised to purchase a presidential nomination for him because of his belief in inclusion of the youth in all the things that he does. So what would you say about his relationship with the Nigerian youth, especially now that we talk about let's have more youth in government?
We can see, let me still go back to Lagos State as a model, because you could see, even the president in Lagos State, you can see the blend, of the youth, of the middle-aged people like that together. That's part of, the model that Asiwaju set up, right from his own time, to the time of Babatunde Raji Fashola, to time of, Akinwumi Ambode, to the present, to the incumbent Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu. You can see that. So, but for me, I have a message as a followership scholar for the youth. This is an opportunity for the youth. Is it because Asiwaju is somebody who is so large-hearted, broad-minded? So, for I condemn the answers. Why? In that, as a followership scholar, I knew it would fail. I've said it before and I'm saying it. One of my daughters was involved. And I said, you know what, at the end of the day, this thing will just go down the drain, all your efforts. Why? Because your leaders are not that identifiable, and you never see a leadership struggle being led and you can't identify the followers that amount to anything in history. Go and study it. So this is a time for them.
For the record, what you're saying is that the agitations were genuine.
They were genuine.
But the manner in which or at which
yes,
they went about
the process,
was
the packaging, the procedure, the principle behind it was faulty.
Right.
So this is an opportunity for them. And I told my daughter at that time, I said, look, you know what? It is better for you to come together, to belong to a political party, and then you can champion something. This is an opportunity. Just about a year to the election. Now, for me, I will advocate for them. It is too late to say you are forming a political party now. You see, but the thing is, it has happened in the history of Nigeria, and anybody can fault me watching now. The presidential election has always come out. The outcome has always produced a president from two populous parties, two most populous parties. You know, it has been like that. Whether when we had MPN, you know, UPN, now PDP, APC. So it's either from PDP or APC, we have our president. So I see some people saying this and that, go and look for credible, honest people. I say, well, are you going to import angels from whatever? These are the people, you know, so it's better for the youth now to connect, to identify their leaders, to come together. For somebody like Asiwaju who have ears to listen, you know, who can, you know, who enjoys robust dialogue, discourse.
You know, one of the things,
for them to come together and articulate their demands, what they want,
right, what they want to see,
and then part of them can be part of that government that is coming, whether in the House of Assembly, in the House of Rep. That is the way it starts. It's not that you just begin to make noise on the street. No, you know, at the end of the day, when it comes to the boardroom, nobody sees you. Right. It's like a business. When you are not in the boardroom, you know, you just make noise.
Right. Speak to the issue, you know, where, you know, in this country currently, we know that there is diverse of opinions, there is, you know, different cultures, multiplicity of views and all that. We talk about the North, the West, the South, and so on and so forth. We're more divided along ethnic lines. And we have economic issues, we have security issues and all that. How do you think the person of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu will be able to, you know, galvanize people to come together, to rally at it, you know, at a particular point, saying that we want to agree with ourselves? For instance, look at it from the North, east from the South, but look at it from the North. You know, over 200 groups from Northern Central yesterday in Abuja, you know, unanimously agreed and threw their weight behind the APC stalwart.
Do you know why? This is the most workable alliance since 1960. The Northern and the Eastern Alliance led us to civil war. The Northern and the South-South Alliance almost got us into trouble. But since the beginning of this alliance in 2015 to date, it's the most peaceful, it's the most workable. It's the only alliance that the leaders did not end up saying that I will never have anything to do with you politically again. And that is what the North are saying in this alliance. And that is why you must begin to preach the need for us to start doing things the way the rest of the world, which is work for, do their things. It is no longer feasible for us to use numerical strength to harass smaller groups again. People don't do it in the world again. What they do is this kind of alliance, concessions that, okay, you have economic power, you have numerical strength, you have resources, let's bring it together. Never a time must you use your resources as a region to harass the rest of the region by saying that I will not allow Nigeria to have access to my region again. So, but we must recognize the progress of everybody. So we must bring it together. Not those have the numerical strength. The South have economy, other have region. Right. And as a result of that, that is what defines what is called rotation. Mr. Economy take, Mr. Numerical strength take, Mr. Resources take, Mr. Intellectual take, Mr. This take. If you do that, you have unity. We must not rupture the unity by thinking that there's only numerical strength that is important. No, it's not only the numerical strength. All over the world, this is along the line they do things. What you are bringing on board, because there is no region in this country that is not offering something. There is no region. The most visible might be that you have population. That might be the most visible. Yeah. Other things might not be visible. For people who are political leaders of that region, they know what other regions are bringing on board. That's why they don't risk it. That's why this time around, the leaders in the north know that the highest political wisdom now is for this to go to the south, particularly to the southwest. That's the highest wisdom at the moment.
Even the opposition parties are also unanimous on this.
We must begin to sound a note of warning to all other parties, PDP, APC, that are trying to tinker with the idea of making part to them that, though this is the unity of Nigeria, not unity in terms of the violence, but there will be misunderstanding. That's no. We also remember that thing from the perspective of a southerner.
Right.
A southern perspective must also win by becoming the president of Nigeria.
We are quickly running out of time. I want to bring this to you. Looking at the business acumen of the person of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, it may surprise you that I've been here for more than 3 years now. I've never set my 2 eyes on him. I've never even breathed, caught his whiff just for a second. And I've learned that even here, it's been long he's been here. And this is a station that still works, despite what we went through, 2 years ago. Yes, so how would you describe such a kind of man? And what he says, okay, he's a financier, continues to run without his being there physically. So how do you describe his business acumen when it comes to ensuring that it puts something somewhere and it works?
Well, let me just say this. In a few minutes, it's difficult to actually encapsulate the business acumen and sagacity of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, let's start from the time he was in Mobi, and the way he came up to become the treasurer of Mobi at that time. He was having a very, very promising career, and from there going to politics. It's like people like Baba Akinyelure, who was a mentor to him in business, was like, say, Bola, where are you going? Or he saw the need to serve the people. So bringing that to Lagos State again, that's part of the thing we're enjoying today. Whether people like to admit it or oppose it or controvert it, the records are there. The records cannot lie. Books have been written about this, and there are figures. When you go to Lagos State, what we have as the Internal General Revenue, IGR, 600 million per month. You see, before leaving, it has risen to about 7 billion per month. And then Babatunde Rajivashola came on board, lifted up the bar again. And the same thing, Akinwumi Ambode, and even like, Sanwo-Olu is doing presently. So, but then somebody build that foundation. I'm a civil engineer, primarily, and when you have a solid foundation, when you are building a house and you see people taking time in the foundation and you are not even seeing the structure, you'll be wondering, what are these people doing 3 months, 6 months? But let me tell you, it means that structure is going taller, and that is it. They are driving pie, they are doing this, they are doing that. By the time they are building, you can see it rising, 15th floor, 20th floor, like that. But if it's a bungalow, well, within 2 weeks, you see. So the business acumen, and that's what we need now, because our economy is dipping. If our economy is bleeding, it has been bruised and it's bleeding. And it's like what we have presently now is we really need somebody with the thinking acumen, sagacity of Asiwaju, to not just him alone, just like Wilson said. He said, I use my brain and I combine with the brain of other 1,000 people. And Asiwaju is good in that. To bring other people in who are cerebral, who are savvy, who are sagacious, so that we can beat this economy right now and not just depend on oil, rather diversify to others and lift Nigeria up again.
Right. Well, let's bring this to a close by asking you the very last thoughts you have on this. Just like I mentioned earlier on, nobody has ever spoken to me and say, when you get on TV, this is how you should talk about him. Nobody talks to what about him. We're just allowed to do our job the way we should do it and be professional. But a lot of people always throw jibes at him, saying, is this, is that. But you never see him come out and saying, I'm sending a rejoinder, I'm responding to this. Has he developed that kind of thick skin and be able to work with those who are even his naysayers?
He's a thorough politician. And that gives an impression of who he is, the way he runs this place. I've been to several local and foreign stations, and I have recognized them with what they stand for. Some stations are opposition to government in power, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. But it shocks me at times when you bring people to come and dissect issues here. And I see them talking 5-6 years ago, talking about policies that affect, but that affects the Lagos State government. And I say, well, that is a principled journalism. In conclusion, he's one of the most qualified candidates. And the kind of support Nigerians will have to give him, I think it is better for sick candidates like him and others who are coming up as one of the candidates we have been looking for towards in 2023. We don't want candidates that come and mess us up again, just like what my colleagues have said, that we are in a dilemma already. We are in economic crisis already.
Right.
Somebody that has the capacity to lead us out of that crisis is what we're looking at. So it's coming out at this moment that the consultant is doing is a step in the right direction.
All right, thank you very kindly. Public Affairs Analyst Razak Olukoba and Dr. John Ekundayo, also a Public Affairs Analyst. Thank you so much for your thoughts this morning.
Thank you.